Hello everybody, Mobius Y here with another video for Stellaris Console Edition. Today's video is going to be discussing one of the core mechanics of the game, and this video's topic will be about Planetary Districts, which is one of the new mechanics introduced in the version 2.2 update. So before continuing with the video, if you'd like to see more Stellaris Console Edition content, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video. Normally I upload at least once per week as per my stream schedule, but sometimes I do upload more often, and these days in particular when I'm not working, that is definitely happening. So these newer mechanics videos will be somewhat unscripted, unlike previous videos, so I still intend to cover the topic in great detail, and hopefully by the end of this video you will have learned something. And I'd also like to note that this particular video specifically deals with districts on planets, as we'll go over both habitats and ring worlds in a future video. Now let's get on to the subject, starting with identifying potential new colonies. So here in the Star Mag system, there is in fact two habitable worlds. We have Star Mag 3A and Star Mag 2. Now, Star Mag 2 is in fact a size 25 world, while Star Mag 3 Alpha is a size 12 world. Now in the previous version, what that meant is that the size 12 world would have 12 tiles on it, allowing you to have 12 pops on it, 12 buildings on it, producing resources, etc., etc. And the size 25 planet, which is, twice as big, would probably produce about twice as many resources because it had twice as many tiles. That's not necessarily the case in version 2.2 anymore. Instead, the size of the planet determines the maximum number of districts that you can construct on the planet. And this includes the total number of districts of all types of districts combined, not just any one particular district in question. So if we look at Star Mag 2, it shows us here that it only has a few generator, mining, and agriculture districts, but we can actually build up to 27 city districts. Now, before you colonize a planet, you can move your cursor over this little districts box here, and it'll tell you on the right-hand side what is allowing you to build so many districts. In this case, we have plus 25 from the size of a planet, because it is a size 25 world, but there's also a planetary modifier called high gravity that is adding an additional 2 districts to this planet's maximum district amount. The high gravity modifier is in fact doing a little bit more than that, lowering habitability and increasing the building and district cost of construction, but we'll just ignore those for now as we're talking about districts. So there are additional modifiers that can increase this number of districts further, while certain planetary features, basically tile blockers, can reduce that number of districts. Now, increasing the number of districts could be things like planet modifiers. Completing the expansion tradition tree as well will increase the maximum number of districts on your planets. And also there's the Mastery of Nature Ascension perk, which can allow you to add an additional 2 districts to each planet's maximum. Now, there's 4 types of districts. You have the city district and this is for a regular organic empire. For a hive mind, they're a hive district, I do believe, and a machine empire is a nexus district. They essentially serve the same purpose, but behave somewhat differently. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to stick with plain old regular organic empires. So city districts produce a couple jobs called clerks, and clerks produce trade value on your colonies, as well as amenities to keep your population happy on that planet. Generator districts also add a little bit of housing, but not nearly as much as a city district, and they create technician jobs, and technicians produce energy credits. Mining districts create a little bit of housing, just as much as a generator district, but again, not nearly as much as a city district, and they create miner jobs, which produce minerals, and an agriculture district produces housing, just like a generator or mining district, and creates farmer jobs, which produce food for you. So those 3 main types of districts can essentially determine which basic resource you want this planet to produce. And obviously you can have planets that have a mix of all 3. There's not really anything wrong with that, although specializing does also incur further bonuses as the colony develops, and we'll get into that a little bit more later on. Now, while city districts are pretty much limited by the size of the planet and you can build a lot more of them than the regular districts, the other three non-city district types are essentially limited by what are called planetary features on the planet. And these planetary features would be what determining factors as to whether or not you can construct certain buildings to produce strategic resources, but also tile blockers, which reduce the numbers of districts, and essentially also the number of districts you do in fact have on that planet. And we're actually going to jump ahead to when I have colonized this planet to take a look at this planet's features and determine why there's only 3 generator districts, 6 mining districts, and 4 agriculture districts. So we're going to jump ahead several years to when the colonization of StarMag 2 has in fact completed. Okay, so we've shot ahead a number of years, and as you can see, StarMag 2 has been fully colonized and renamed, and we're able to take a look at the planetary screen. You'll see that it's completely different now that it is in fact a colonized world. Going to the main screen now shows us the planetary decisions that we have available, and of course one of them is Mastery of Nature, which increases the maximum number of districts available. Now remember that this only increases the maximum number of districts. And it pretty much only applies to city districts. It doesn't actually increase the number of generator, mining, or agriculture districts. Those don't increase. Those are essentially determined by the planet's planetary features. And you can see that in this second tab here on the planetary screen, this surface tab. When you highlight the planetary features box, press the A button, and you can go through all the planetary features available here. This will also be the section where things like tile blockers will be, and essentially what tile blockers essentially do is until they're cleared, they are in fact reducing the number of some types of districts that you can have on the planet. But once they're cleared, you tend to open up a feature that increases the number of districts. So let's take a look at some of the planetary features that this world has. We have some arid highlands, which is giving us +1 generator districts, and we have a searing desert, which is giving us +2 generator districts. So those two combined is what's giving us our 3 available generator districts. If we look down, we also have 3 copies of mineral fields, each one giving us +1 to our mining districts, so it's giving us a total of another 3 mining districts. We have 1 submerged ore veins, which is giving us +3 max mining districts. So these two features combined is what's giving us our 6 mining districts. And then we have 4 copies of bountiful plains, each one giving us +1 agriculture districts for a total of 4. So it's these planetary features which essentially determines how many of each type of these special non-city districts is on this particular planet. And the number of these districts can help determine what kind of production you want to happen on this planet. So seeing as the maximum amount of districts that I could have on this planet is potentially 30, but I only have 13 of these special districts available, I'm probably going to have a crap ton of city districts, which are producing a lot more housing. As you can see on the right hand side, in the later stages of the game, your city districts will be producing +8 housing compared to +2 from either of these other 3 types of districts. So that will be a lot of available housing for pops. So I'll have to find ways to create a lot of jobs for those pops beyond just the districts, and this will be where buildings come into place. We'll talk about those in another video. So districts do provide some housing. City districts provide the most, but until your colony is well developed and you have many building slots unlocked, probably your first 6 or 7 or so, you're definitely going to be relying very heavily on your districts to produce lots of jobs for your pops on your newer colonies. Now, the jobs that are created from any of these districts being constructed, whether it's a city, generator, mining, or agriculture district, those type of jobs are in a specific strata. For a Gestalt consciousness, which is hive minds and machine intelligences, they will be menial drones, and for regular organic empires, they will be workers. So workers and menial drones are essentially the bottom of the barrel, and they will be able to alternate between other worker jobs. For example, if you want to replace a generator district with a mining district, then your technicians are far more likely to shift over to those minor jobs as opposed to researchers dropping down from their specialist strata down to workers and then working those minor jobs. So do be aware of that. But you are going to be relying on constructing these districts for your main source of jobs on your newer colonies. The other thing too is when you have a colony online and you figure you know what you're going to turn this world into, you might be tempted to construct as many districts as you can and essentially set up the planet how you want it to be done. Honestly, I kind of recommend against that, as each district that you construct on a planet, in fact, increases your empire sprawl. And if you remember empire sprawl, if you don't recall what empire sprawl is, I have another mechanics video about admin cap or admin capacity, and I discuss both admin cap and empire sprawl in that video. I suggest you go check it out. So if I was to build the maximum amount of districts that I could on this planet right away, by the time all that's done, I'm generating an additional 30 to my empire sprawl, possibly when I don't even have my second building slot unlocked. So I recommend against doing that. You largely just want to do it as time goes on, so it will take some memory work remembering what was I doing with this planet. We're actually going to jump ahead to another portion later on in the game when our first building slot is available, and I also want to show one more thing that can happen when you construct districts, in that it can change the type of colony into a more specialized world. Okay, so we've jumped ahead even further, and we have a bunch of pops on the new colony, which I've also renamed for easy identification. Excuse me. You can see now here in this box on the far right-hand side of it, we now have 30 districts available, and by hovering the cursor over this box, it tells us why that is. Our maximum districts is 30 because there's 25 from the planet size being 25. We're getting +2 from the high gravity planet modifier. We're getting +2 from the Mastery of Nature decision, from the Mastery of Nature Ascension perk, and we're getting +1 from having completed the expansion tradition. So we have a total of 30 maximum districts available. Now, as you can see, this really has only increased the maximum number of city districts that we can construct, whereas the generator, mining, and agriculture districts have remained the same. So whenever you increase the amount of districts available on a planet, you're largely just increasing the number of city districts that you can construct on it, as opposed to increasing the number of districts of the other three types. So do be aware of that. Now, the number of different types of districts that you construct on a colony will essentially determine the buildings that you are constructing on that planet. So because I have 30 districts available on this planet total, however, I can really only build about 13 of either generator, mining, and agriculture districts. All combined, those will only create 13 districts. I can still construct another 17 city districts. So that's going to produce a lot of housing, and I'm going to want to fill up that housing by opening up a lot of jobs for pops. So I'm probably going to build things like research labs, civilian industries, and alloy foundries, because when you upgrade these buildings, each of them can provide 5 or even 8 jobs once they're fully upgraded. So each one can provide quite a lot of jobs once they're fully upgraded. So I'm not really going to be creating a lot of basic resources on this planet because I have a very low amount of districts available, aside from clerk jobs, which are going to produce a lot of trade value and amenities. So I'm going to be relying largely on buildings that can be upgraded to provide a lot of jobs. Now, one more thing too to note is that this current planet's type is still set as a colony because it's a very, very new, recently colonized world. But depending on the types of buildings that you construct on a world, or the types of districts that you construct on a world, the planet type can actually change. For example, this is a refinery world because I have a bunch of refineries that are producing strategic resources like rare crystals, volatile motes, and the exotic gases. So this is a refinery world. However, if it wasn't for those buildings, it's very likely it would be an agri world, which increases the food output from my farmers by about 5%. So that is something to take note. This is a tech world because it has a lot of research labs. Where's a good example? That's a forge world, not what I'm looking for. Here's a good example. Here's an agri world. despite only having 2 agriculture districts constructed, this bonus can be applied very, very early in a colony's development. As this particular colony develops, I'm probably going to build a lot of mining districts, and it would turn into a bit more of a mining world, more than likely. And these different types can change quite significantly. You can even have modifiers that increase the productivity of what are called your workers. And your workers are the folks that are working as farmers or technicians or miners. So if you have any bonuses that increase workers' output, it essentially is increasing the output of your energy credits, your minerals, and your food, as well as your trade and amenities from your clerks. So that is something to keep an eye out for. I don't really want to get too much further into the different jobs and all that stuff, as things like jobs and strata and buildings, those are topics that I will cover in future videos, but hopefully this gives you a really good in-depth explanation of what districts are and how they work in this video. So to recap, we've covered planet size, district types, and planetary features a little. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it's been helpful for new and old players alike, learning this new mechanic that came with the version 2.2 update. And if you did enjoy seeing more videos such as this one, please subscribe to the channel, as there will be additional mechanics videos in the future. Also, don't forget to check out the links in the description below, such as my Twitch channel, where I stream Stellaris Console at least once a week, and there I can interact with viewers live whilst I am playing. It's a good time to ask me questions, as I can answer them on the screen right in front of me. You'll also find my Twitter feed, which is a great way to keep in touch with me, and I'll post important announcements. And lastly, my own personal Discord for fans of my channel to freely join. You don't have to, but it's there if you'd like to be a part of it. So thank you very much for watching. This is Mobius signing off for now, and I hope to see you again real soon.